Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Voice of Houston right here at UHN-TV. And we are so happy to have you just before Christmas to listen to us as well as view us with Dr. Bobby Mills, our co-host, and I am Clara Brent, your host. I was thinking, Bobby, about the information that was given to us in on the news. According to this young man, around about 15 years old, who was kind of coached by his parents to do what he had done by shooting
Well, I don't think
peers.
it's fair, Doc, to say that he was coached. Let's say that his parents knew that he was a mentally, spiritually confused young man. And they made the horrible mistake of purchasing a gun that was really a high-powered gun for him for Christmas. And they gave it to him as a Christmas present prior to Christmas. But they also knew that this young man was confused. He was having difficulties getting along with people at school and so forth. And when he went to school on the day of the shooting,
He carried the gun
one
with
of
him.
the teachers, one of the teachers initially noticed that he was searching the web for ammo, for ammunition, and then drawing pictures. And so the teacher went to him and said, "Hey, what are you dealing with?" And so she took him to the principal's office. So they had already taken him out of the classroom. They called his parents. His mother came to the school and talked to the school officials. And what she said to him later on was, "You basically didn't do anything wrong other than you got caught."
That was the wrong thing for her to say.
Well, because she's confused too. That's why she's in
Parents
jail.
confused as well.
Yeah.
But the my issue is if he's looking for gun ammunition.
Well, he had ammunition already, but he's looking for more ammunition. Because, see, when he went to school,
Well, how in the world he gonna
had-
get more ammunition for the same day that he's doing the shooting? So what in the
Well,
hell?
he was
going on?
thinking, probably with a confused mind, that he's going to get. He already had a lot of ammunition with him.
I see.
He had round after round after round
And
after
still
round,
wanted more.
and still wanted to purchase more high-powered weaponry in terms of the bullets and so forth.
I wonder, did the mother know that he had that gun? Or his father?
They bought the gun.
No. Carrying the gun to the schoolhouse.
Well,
That's what I'm speaking of. Why would you?
The
You
thing
got
about
to
it
know
is,
that they let him carry that gun.
Doc, that's not even important.
Yes, it is.
Wait a minute, hold it. The important thing is this boy is 15 years old and they bought the gun for him. So they knew he was troubled.
Yeah.
They knew he was troubled and having difficulty at school with other children. Because
If you got difficulty with children at school, he's 15 years old, why would you encourage a child to carry a gun? Why would you encourage this
Because
child,
they
I'm going to
just
get you a gun, baby, don't you worry, you can take care of
Well,
these people.
you know-
You don't know what all that's going through with these parents with their...
Well, because they just as
Messed
sick
up
as the
minds.
child. The reason why the child is sick because his mother and father is sick. That's why they in jail now on suicide watch and have been charged with second-degree involuntary murder.
Now-
So they face, on two different accounts, they
That
face
ought
up
to be-
to 30 years
yeah.
in jail themselves.
Because they're responsible for the actions of their children.
They'll probably end up dying in jail because they're going to get convicted.
Yeah, they should get convicted because
And
you letting this child tell you what he's going to do and you are going to agree
Well,
with it
it's
by
not
getting
that-
him a gun.
They bought the gun.
That's
It's
what I'm
not
saying.
that
By
they let
buying him a gun, you buying a gun.
He
That's
didn't go
agreeing.
get the gun himself. They bought the gun.
I understand. I'm saying that they bought the gun. They ought to be held responsible for what
Well,
that
that's why
baby
they're in
did.
jail. That's why they're in jail right now facing
And I pray
two.
that they continue to be in jail.
They're in jail facing 2 counts of involuntary second-degree murder. And each one of those counts carry 15 years. So they are facing potentially 30 years in jail, which means that in all likelihood, they will die in jail if convicted. But the thing about it is, they know that they are culpable. That's why they ran. And they found them.
That's what I'm talking about. They ran. They were more guilty than the baby.
Well, they know
I'm just saying they're more guilty than him. I don't know what they're going to do with him at being 15. If the law's the same as Texas, he's going to be going. He's going to be trialed.
He'll never see daylight again.
He's going to be trialed just like just like they do here in Texas. If you're 14 years old or something like that, you trial like an adult. Like an adult.
The parents of the children who were killed,
whether your mind is messed up or
injured, they have filed $100 million lawsuits against the school district because the school district.
Well, I don't blame them because they had a chance to stop him.
Well,
they had a chance to stop that child from doing what he was doing, because even though you don't just take for granted that he's going to do right.
Well, that wasn't the point, Doc. What the point was this. They knew that at school, this young man was having difficulty with other children, getting along with other children. They already knew that.
Bullying.
That's why that same day that he committed these murders, the mother was called to come to the school because he was there searching for ammunition, and one of the teachers caught him. When she got to the school, she refused to take him home. But where the school district dropped the ball was that they did not call police authorities because they knew that this boy had been searching for these kinds of bullets to go in a gun, and instead of them calling and say, hey, look here, come and get him and take him on down to the courthouse or somewhere, investigate and find out what's going on. That's why that school district is being sued now, because they're culpable, because they let that boy go back to the classroom.
Well, they're so comfortable simply because the child was, and I'm not, it's just that he was white and they accepted the fact that they were going to.
dealing with the skin color.
Yeah, they're dealing with the skin color, because I know it was a black child, hey.
Yeah. Well, just a minority child, period.
Period.
If he was Hispanic or
whatever,
Asian or whatever.
They'd have been searching everything he had.
Yeah.
Because he's looking for ammunition.
If he had a locker, they'd have searched that, they'd have searched him.
Yeah, and then question the mother more than what they did, because she refused to take him home. Why are you refusing to take him home?
Right.
And he's looking for a gun. Does he have a gun now? All those kind of questions should have been asked. Children's lives would have been saved.
That's why the school district is being sued.
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't blame those parents of the people who lost their children.
I don't much blame them either.
And the ones of children who were injured, because you still have 8 or 9 people
who are injured
in the hospital that some of them are still. One young lady got shot through her neck.
It said it would have been more than that if they hadn't been practicing how to when you have those type of conditions or type of things that happens among people whose minds are not clear, even if they are a child. They had been practicing what to do, and so they locked the doors. They were locking the classroom doors, and they was getting on the floor. All of that, it had not been done, they probably would have lost more lives than what had been lost. I want to talk about also the mayor is not going to be our mayor anymore in Houston.
Well, he's term limited.
Yeah, his term is up,
but
we're going to miss him.
In 2023?
Yeah, we're going to miss his presence. I'm quite sure he's not going to be out of everything, but he will not be the mayor of Houston. And I heard that we're having one of our senators is planning on
he's
announced it already.
Yeah, Senator John
Mr.
Whitmire.
has announced it. I don't know of anyone else. You know of anyone else that's
Well, it's my understanding that there are a number of people who are considering it. Gilbert Garcia, who was the chief executive officer of Metro under Anise Parker, Mayor Anise Parker. I understand that potentially there are a number of other people who will be running. City council person Pollard might run.
Yeah.
I don't know whether former city council person Dwight Borkins might get back out there. But the field will probably be pretty crowded
large
of people who will consider, seeking the office.
Right.
But
what they're gonna do? What is Whitmire gonna do about his seat in Texas?
He's not.
He's gonna resign or what?
No, he's still filing to run for senator. He's hedging his bet.
Oh, I see. Just in case you don't win one, you still have the other
one. Got the other.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you can run for two different positions. In Texas
supposing he wins.
Simultaneously.
What happens when he wins? The mayor.
Well, then what he'll do if he wins the mayor's race and if he wins the senatorial seat, he would resign, obviously, from being the senator, and because he obviously wants to be the mayor.
Evidently.
Yeah.
The mayor of Houston.
Right. Well, it's a very.
What is profitable for that? Really, for moving
Houston,
from the Senate to the
Houston is a very powerful city now because of
the versatility,
economic structure and power of the city, and the population is multicultural and diverse, and it's about the fourth largest city in the country.
Oh, we've moved up.
And Houston.
Yes, I can tell by the traffic that it's.
Oh,
we moved up.
In Houston,
you can't hardly get you around anymore for all the traffic that we have.
Houston is a very exciting place in terms of economic development to live, because if you can't make it in Houston,
yes.
Because there are the opportunities here for employment and quality of life living in terms of, a home and neighborhoods and so forth.
Right.
So a lot of people are coming into Houston.
Yes.
And a lot of people are moving. They said in this past census, the state of Texas increased by almost 4 million people.
Good Lord. That is
and the majority
right here in Houston.
And I'm talking about across the state. And the majority of the people who migrated to Houston were minorities.
Really?
And that's what the situation is all about.
I was thinking everybody was coming from the northern parts of the country.
Well, no matter where they're coming from, almost 90% of the people who came here, of the 4 million, they were minorities. They were non-white. And so the population of minorities and Texas in general has grown exponentially. And consequently, that's why you have all of the cantankerous situation going on about voting
in Texas.
With the restrictive kinds of voting laws, and that's why the
trying to catch the bull before he runs.
Attorney General's office at the federal level is suing Texas.
But I can imagine why they were trying to do such a thing. They knew more than we knew at the time that more people were coming in that were eligible for voting.
Well, everybody knew it. You know, I mean, all you got to do is look at Houston and look at what's going on around the state. You know
Yes.
that, you know, there are a lot of people moving here who are non-white. And even the medical center said that almost 75% of the children who are born and who are, say, at birth to 4 years of age in the city of Houston, they're minorities. I'm talking about almost 75%.
Would you go as far to say is, I know it's not blacks, that many blacks are being born. It's Hispanic more than likely.
Well, ain't no more than likely it is. It's Hispanic.
Yeah, it's got to be Hispanic.
And the increase in terms of the 4 million people, 70% of them, or 60% at least, was Hispanic.
Well, I'm just wondering why they so hard on the blacks minority. Then it's not that many of us anyway to be concerned about. But we are more apt to want to do what we need to do in order to make things better. That's the whole difference.
Well, you know, when it comes down to life in general and politics, blacks tend to have a universal perspective. What we do know is that Biden made a horrible mistake.
Really? What did he do wrong?
The mistake he made was when he said that blacks was responsible for him being president. That was...
Oh, really?
Yeah. That set him
well,
up.
I could see that him saying that simply because of Georgia.
Well, you don't have to say that.
Well, you know,
some things you don't
Biden
say.
some things are he's
better.
Never bit his tongue too many times, you know.
Well, but you see what's going on with him now. He can't get anything done, not because he doesn't have the desire to do what's right and get things done.
Yes.
But because the Republicans and the white privilege-oriented
people,
groups,
yes,
they are not going to let him do anything.
And which is very
and that's why
that's stupid.
They're trying to make his presidency seem as though it's a failed presidency.
No, they are failing. They don't. The Republicans.
No, but the point I'm trying to say is
I understand what you're talking about.
Saying
yes,
he's not getting anything done, and they won't let him get anything done because they think he's trying to get things done for blacks and minorities. So the white privilege-oriented whites, they're not going to let him get anything done.
Like you said, we're back before, a while back, they cannot be taken over.
No.
They cannot be taken over.
The system is their system.
It's their system, so how in the world can they be taken over with the...
then
we just don't want them to take over because they have such bad understanding.
We had a black president.
We
had a black president.
Yes, we did.
What did Obama get accomplished?
Not too much of anything. Not because the Republicans were in office.
Well, because of the system.
Well, they had more Republicans in office.
Well, at one time, when he first got elected, there were the House and the Senate was Democrat majority.
Well,
but see, the thing about it is, the point I'm trying to get you to they're not going to let him get anything done. The system won't let him get anything done.
Right. But
it's like the system is not going to allow Biden to get anything done because they think that he's trying to get something done to help blacks, which they know that's not the case, and they know they're not going to let him do it.
They know it's not the case. They want to
have.
That's
why you can't
they want to have rules.
That's why you can't get the
case of it is the ruling part, like putting somebody in office like Trump. How in the world could you have the mind to have someone with a mind like Trump to lead this country?
Drives you insane.
That's so bad until we're losing position in the world. as
We
leader,
have already
as the
lost
leaders.
position because everybody knows in the world community that America is not,
The leader like it used to be.
well,
Yeah.
America is not willing or capable of living up to what they have as a governing document. They're not willing to live up to the preamble or the U.S. Constitution. Now, they
No.
always talk about being constitutional
Yes.
and all that kind of mess.
And
But
not
the,
doing
but
a
the preamble
thing.
to the
They're
Constitution
not doing a
says
thing, but sitting up there on their auras. Go ahead.
we
Sorry.
hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator. And we know that the Constitution and the preamble is based on human rights and human dignity. And they have never
That's-
lived up to that, and they're not going to live up to it. And they probably,
They would,
unless
they
Jesus
would
comes
prefer
back,
seeing this country fall from the first to the last. They would prefer seeing this country being a
well, they're
leader.
willing to destroy it.
They would prefer having it destroyed than to have what it ought to be like from the beginning.
Yeah, inclusive, where you have an
exclusive.
inclusive democracy.
Exactly. And they
Where
had it
equal-
going there for a while. They had it going
where
there for a
equal
while
is equal.
until they tried to dismantle all the minority that was us at the time. But now it's a different matter. And I still hold that even though they were trying to move the blacks out of their jobs, they in turn messed up a lot by letting illegals come into into this state, for real, into this state and take over jobs that they weren't even
Well,
citizens.
that's not so much that.
Why not?
Well, see what it is. You got to understand this. They know that in terms of the agricultural products and workers that you need, they're not going to get people who are American citizens to work for that minimum $7, $8, $9 an hour doing the grunt work in society.
But it has backfired on them.
You know,
It's backfired.
so
that's what I'm
why-
trying to say. It's
that's why
backfiring
they
on them.
allowed the illegal,
It's backfiring. Their
Hispanics to come
children
in
are
to
born
do-
here,
to
and
do the grunt work.
their children are born here. They are citizens, and they are eligible to vote. And they are learning each and every day how important it is to vote. Now, that's where they made their mistake of trying to wipe out the black man from having construction jobs, skilled jobs, and in that turn, they wanted to make more money, but they forgot, and thought about, well, look here, what has happened in the last census that we had, not the last one, the first census that we had in around about maybe 20, 30 years. They found out it was more Hispanics than blacks in the United States. And it was catching up with the majority in the United States. And the majority is white, of course. And they were catching up in their numbers.
In the population.
In the population. Knowing that if they were catching up in the population, that means that the children were growing up, 18 years old and older, were going to be able to vote because they were born here in America. That's the law. They can't take that away. They can take our civil rights away that we fought so hard to get and everything, but they cannot take that away, because if that was the case, then we wouldn't have Cruz as a senator, and many more as senators and representatives of this country for the people. So if they did that, made that mistake, how many more mistakes have they made in regards to keeping the black down and not giving us,
your civil rights.
Our civil rights. That's every time you turn around, there is a our rights are being taken from us that were given in 1965. Or was it 64?
Well, 64 is the Civil Rights Bill, and
Yeah.
65 is the Voting Rights Act.
Yes. And so if that has happened, then what are we going to look forward to in the years to come but arguments, fights, and disgrace? That's what I'm
Confusion.
Confusion, yes.
And God is not the author of confusion.
No,
but
He
of
isn't.
peace.
And God made this country great. Not necessarily the heads and leaders, but God made this country great in regards to how we treated one another and people abroad. And now we're doing just the opposite of what we have been working
Well, we
for.
don't live up to what we declare as a governing document. We don't live up to the Constitution and to the preamble to the Constitution, even though, you know, the GOP, Republicans say that they are constitutionalists, but they're not willing to live by the tenets of the Constitution, because the Constitution is an inclusive document. It's not an exclusionary document, and they're not willing to live up to that.
Right. And I look at the fact, too, that if we continue to go in the way we are going, each and every day in legislation, in the government, as well as the state governments, I heard on the news the other day where the judge in Georgia put down the mandate out of that our president had stated that it had to be a mandate that all construction workers should have their shots for COVID before they could work. And
you're talking about the federal mandate.
Yes,
for,
the federal mandate.
You know, companies with employees over 100. But the thing about it is, we know that COVID, because of the Delta virus and the Omicron virus that came out of South Africa, it's on the rise. More people are dying now. You have at least over 1,000 people a day dying now. You're almost at 800,000 people dead. You don't hear people dying because of they got the shot. You don't hear of anybody dying because of vaccinations. You hear people dying because they did not get the vaccination.
My point is, why are you so against the president? Why are you so against having people vaccinated? And you know well and good.
Well, I just got through telling you that
money?
they do
Is it
not.
money?
They
It's
do
got
not.
to be money.
They do not want Biden to succeed. They are not going to allow him to succeed, and it's simply because Biden made the statement, I know who is responsible for me being the president, and they think that somehow black people are going to benefit from that because Biden senses or feels that he owes black people.
That is so
and
stupid.
everybody knows that is not going
ignorant.
to happen, because these white privilege-oriented groups are not going to allow it to happen. Because you see what kinds of people you have in Congress, you see what kind of people you have in the Senate on the Republican side, and you got 2 or 3 on the Democrat side. So you got some white privilege-oriented Democrats, and you got a whole lot of white privilege-oriented Republicans. And they are not going to allow Biden to do anything constructive toward bringing this country together and helping no black people.
Well,
and black people may as well understand that.
It's not that many of us. That's what it's just about, what, 4% of us, maybe less, in the United States?
No, it's about 12%.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's less than that, the way
No. Well, see, the problem is the conflict in this society always has been between black and white because of what was done to blacks by whites. You went to Africa.
You brought
with
us over
guns.
here. Yes.
And you put them on ships.
Yes.
And you brought them here and made them build the infrastructure of the country.
I got you.
I'm telling you,
but you're not paying. The issue is that you didn't pay it back. You didn't pay.
They're not gonna pay it back.
If they would ever come to themselves and
black folk
pray,
forget talking about some kind of reparation.
And
why
restoration.
You think Abraham Lincoln got shot in his head? As soon as Abraham Lincoln said, "Get them Negroes 40 acres and a mule,"
they shot him.
Shot him in his head.
Sure they did. But
because the whites in the South, in the first place,
well, they even got paid.
Did not know how to work and didn't want to work.
They even got paid for the slaves that were freed. They got paid for that.
Oh yeah.
But they got their restoration. Why didn't we get ours? I mean, our forefathers got out. Should have gotten theirs. Their mule and their 40 acres land, whatever.
You're not gonna get no reparations. You know, black folk may as well forget that. I'm telling you, when I went to Jackson, Mississippi, back in 1999,
pulling this country down, then
2000, right along
do what's
in there.
right. Do what's right.
And you know, I went and the first black mayor got elected, and I walked in City Hall, and there's a big old beautiful white structure, plantation oriented.
Yeah,
and a cornerstone.
Jackson, Mississippi.
And a cornerstone.
Mm-hmm.
Engraved said built in 1852.
Mm-hmm. By
slave labor.
Exactly.
Material cost $7,500.
Mm-hmm. It's there. It's still there, unless they've taken it down. But it was there when I was there.
You know, they got a black mayor, and he got more sense than to take it down. You keep that there forever.
Yes,
remembrance.
Lord.
You owe somebody.
Yeah. You owe somebody.
Yeah.
And there's somebody or the slaves that they brought in here illegally and all that.
We know who the somebody, you know, who they are. We know who they are.
Yeah, God knows who they are too.
Right.
Now, God knows who these guys are that's causing all this haywalk that's going on in this country.
And America's in big trouble.
Yes.
We're in big trouble because, first of all, we have too many guns. We got too many guns.
In the wrong hands.
And we got children going to school with guns rather than books.
Exactly.
Now, that's a problem.
That is a big problem.
Because when you got a family structure...
Not carrying your books, you carrying your gun.
When you got family structures that are so dysfunctional that our children are growing up angry and confused and have the desire to create hell and havoc and kill and maim rather than to learn and develop their mentalities and skills and capabilities so that they can be a productive member of society, something is wrong.
Yeah.
Then on the other hand, not only do we have too many guns, we got too many laws. See, we got too many laws.
I do agree with you.
And you know why?
And changing every day. They changing them every day.
See, you know why? Because the Hebrews had 613 laws.
I can remember that.
They had 613
it's there in the Bible, right? Still in now, 600.
Hebraic laws. And Moses had a spiritual encounter with God on Mount Sinai. And God said, you don't need all them laws.
Just need the 10.
You don't need but 10. So God gave him 10. And Moses went back and shared the 10. He said, hey, God said, look here, these people down here doing all kind of stuff and everything.
He let the people change
his mind.
Man,
we need more laws. God said, no.
Just stick with the 10.
You don't need all them laws.
All you need is
the 10. And he said, since y'all have allowed sin to wax more strongly, I'm going to wrap myself up in flesh and send my only begotten son to show you the way back home, back to me.
That's why we have Christmas.
Jesus came And Jesus then said 2 laws.
That's
You
all.
don't need but 2.
Don't need but 2. Love the Lord.
Love God with all your heart,
Yes.
soul, and might,
Yep.
and love your
Thy
neighbor
neighbor.
as yourself.
That's what he says. And that's
The 2 great. Now, them the only laws you need.
and if we could only
Well,
in
we
this
can.
country remember who we are.
Well, the only reason
As
why
God,
you can't,
children's,
the only reason why
children.
you can't do it is because of greed, envy, and jealousy, and we got too many men who are victimized by PMS. Now you thought that only women get PMS, but men get PMS too because they get victimized by the desire for power, money, and sex. And we had a president who was victimized by all 3 of those variables.
Yes.
And even the women who called themselves educated, the suburban wives, the upscale, they went and voted for him.
Sure did.
Now, if I'm a woman and a man tell me all I am
Yes. I can
is
do
pleasure,
anything. Yeah.
no, that all
I
I
wanna
am
do
to
with
him
you.
is pleasure, and your body
Yes.
doesn't belong to you, doesn't belong to the Lord. It
Belong to
belongs to
me.
me. And I can do anything to you
I
when
wanna
I
do.
want to. And I'm a woman.
And
I'm
can-
going to have the kind of mentality that I'm going to go and vote and put you in power over me, to rule over me.
And then they all
And
wake
my
up.
children.
And after he wins, they wake up and everybody start marching. You should have marched to the poll and done the right thing instead of the
A
wrong
lot of them
thing.
did. They marched right onto the polls. Because after all, you got to understand, he got 70, plus million votes. He got about, 73 million votes.
Didn't have
So
to
a
do
whole
that.
lot of women
A whole bunch of women
would
voted.
vote, and a whole bunch of them still say they'll vote for him again for
And
president.
fight for him with their ignorant selves. I just don't understand what's
And
behind
well,
the white woman's
Well, that's
mentality, I presume.
Well, that's
would
when
say.
that's when you get victimized.
So often,
And
so
you
long.
think that all you are is pleasure for a man. When you think of yourself
And
in those terms,
they've
rather
been
than
evidently they've been taught that way over the years.
rather than thinking that you are a child of God.
You're a child of the man, but you're not.
And there is no difference with God, and there is no respecter of persons with God, because whether you male or female, you're gonna die.
And you got to be judged.
Whether
That's
you
for sure.
white or black, you're gonna die.
Yeah. And you're gonna be
Whether
judged.
you rich,
or poor.
poor, you're gonna die.
Yes.
Whether you think you are beautiful or you think the other person is ugly, you are going to die, and everything you did in your flesh,
That's true.
it's going to come up against you and be held against you, and you're going to be judged by that. But you know what the real problem is with a lot of these people today, Dr. Brent?
What's the problem?
Living in the graveyard. See, when you live in the graveyard, you'll develop a graveyard mentality.
That's
And we
how
got
further you think you're going? Is the grave?
Well, see,
Is
it's
that the
not that.
mentality?
See, here's what it was. You remember the Money Act that was out there living in the graveyard, and he was naked,
Yes.
and he was demon possessed, and Jesus came along. And they said, oh, man, you know that man out there in the graveyard, he's been out there all the time and everything. And
Acting
Jesus
a fool.
called all them demons out of him.
Send them
And they
into
went
the
in them
fire.
pigs. See, that's why I got to go along with the Muslims. That's why I don't eat that pig. All them demons went in them pigs. And them pigs with what? They drove themselves off into the what?
The sea.
Into the ocean, into the sea,
Yes.
and kill themselves and everything. That's why I don't mess with that pig. I got to go along with the Muslims on that.
Well, the Jews do the same thing. The Jewish people, they don't eat pig either.
Yeah, we know that because that pig is demonic.
So you don't fool around in the graveyard.
Yeah, don't live in the graveyard.
Yeah, don't live in the graveyard.
We got too many people in America today got a graveyard mentality. They thinking about killing and destroying rather than how do I live?
Not to be destroyed. Because God said,
how do I live? That's the question. How do I live?
Psalms 103.
Well, you can't live in conflict with other people.
Oh, my soul. Yes.
You can't live robbing and stealing and killing from one another. See, white people don't have to fear no black people because 94% of the crimes that are committed against whites are committed against whites by whites.
Isn't that the truth? Because
crime
you seldom ever
is,
hear of a black person killing a white person.
Yeah, crime
we kill each other, but we don't kill the white one.
Well,
they kill us, but we don't kill them.
Well, it's the same thing with us.
We'll kill each other.
94% of the crimes that are committed against black people are committed by other black people.
Yes, but the point of the matter is that they don't try to kill the whites for killing them. That's the issue. And so, of course, we were raised to love, period, to care about people. We were raised that way.
Well, you had to share because you had no choice. You were confined in your own communities,
and we still are. We still are.
You had to develop that communal spirit of sharing and giving and loving one another.
How did we break away from that?
Well, you know what it was. It was
we broke away from. We still in our communities, but we've broken away from the caring for one another, looking out for each other. We broken away from that. You got two
things that has happened. Number one, the breakdown of the family.
Yeah,
see when your family is structured. See, family is designed by God. God is the designer of family, not the Supreme Court. See, now we're thinking that the Supreme Court is the designer of family. So the Supreme Court can tell you that two men can marry, two women can marry, two whatever. But God designed family. And God designed it for a specific
reason.
Yes,
He did.
And one very primary reason
is
for the love of God to be able to dwell within our families so that we can grow what? Healthy families.
Healthy children.
Teach our children
to have the same ideas, the same mindset.
And love and respect their parents.
Exactly.
Because if children learn to honor and love and respect their parents, they'll know how to go out in the world and respect their teachers, respect their elders, etc., and so forth. And so now you growing up
and not be
with
so
children
evil.
Who are
evil-minded. They're evil-minded.
Spiritually lost.
Yes.
That's what we just got through talking about.
And stop letting
a young man, 15 years of age, is going to go to school with a gun. Now, when you and I went to school, man, you was carrying books. And you was thinking about learning. And the one thing we do know is with black people, now I ain't going to try to make it applicable to any other group of people. But with black people, I know when we had prayer in school.
You didn't have that problem.
You didn't have them kind of problems. You know why you didn't have those kinds of problems? You didn't have those kinds of problems because prayer is self-introspection.
Yes, it is.
See, prayer, that's why the Bible says when you pray, go into your closet. You have to go into the closet
of your mind and your heart.
And your own spiritual mind and bring the I in you.
The consciousness.
And you know what the I in you is your ego. And see, your ego will make you edge God out. That's what ego is. Edge God out. Where you put yourself at the center. But see, when you really go into, that's why the Bible said when you pray, you go into your closet. You go into the closet, you bring that I under subjection to that me in you, and you say, Lord, have mercy upon me, because I'm a sinner, what? Wretch undone.
That's true.
Because you're not perfect.
None of us are.
The only thing that can make you perfect in the Lord is your acceptance of Jesus Christ
And
as the
obeying.
mediator between
Obey.
you and the devil,
Exactly.
which is a lie, and God, which is the truth.
Well, we go along with understanding that we can do what we want to do, and that's not true. If you want to,
Well,
really,
you can do what you want to do, but you better make sure you know what to do.
but the
That's
real
the problem
point
we
of
have.
the matter is that we forget that we know who God is, but we don't want to follow or understand who He is or obey His
Well,
commandments.
a lot of people
It's
really
just two commandments. So why can't
See,
you
a lot
obey
of people
them?
really don't know who God is. See,
Oh, really?
you have to you have to start out searching
Well, you
for
know,
God.
I mean, if you know well and good that God, you didn't make this world,
a lot of people
you
don't
can't
know that
find
because
out
they're
how
not taught. See, God is nothing
this
other
world was
than
made.
God is just simply the truth.
you just speculating on scientists or speculating on how it was made, but it's not. You can't. You got to give Him credit, some way or another. That you give Him credit when He decided that He's going to get one nation to bring in who He was, and that was Israel. Israelites, call them Hebrews. Then they were Israelites, now they're Jews. But He got this one nation to bring in all of what He really is, was, and to be to all of us. And then He brought Christ, as you said, to make sure that every one of His children that He sent to this earth will be a part of His nation to come. That's when we said heaven is close at hand. When we do that, when we make up in our minds that we are not the author and finisher of our faith, we can do a lot of things together, overcome all this craziness that has been brought to the earth through sin, through Satan. We can change all of that.
Well, see, with just what you just got through saying, Doc, you got to understand that most people are not taught and they do not understand that faith is not an abstraction. Faith pertains...
It's something that you can't see, of course.
Yeah,
Yes.
No, it's not an abstraction because faith pertains to all of life. Everything you do is about faith. We have faith right now. We're sitting in a TV studio in a high-rise building
Yeah.
that's 12 or 13 stories high. We on the 4th floor. We didn't see the engineers
When
that
they
designed this building.
But we have faith.
We didn't see
No.
the construction people that put this building. We ain't seen none of that. But we have the faith to believe that while we're sitting here doing this show, this building ain't gonna fall down on us and we get killed.
So true, so true. And we
And
have
when-
that
and
faith in we have faith
we
in
have
each
faith.
other, but why can't we have faith in God that way?
You know,
Why?
because we're not taught in our families and in our churches. The church is dysfunctional. See, you and I, we got faith right now. When we walk out of this building and go get in our cars, you got a multi-$1,000 car. You up here driving a big old car. You know, you done paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for and everything. You riding around here in an electric car. You living large and all that. And when you go out there and hit that button,
You
it's
expect
full
for it
of
to
gas.
start, yeah.
No, you don't. You hoping and praying and got faith to believe that it's not gonna blow up with all that gasoline in there and kill you.
Now,
That's what
now, if you were
Now, that's your faith.
If your psychic was that bad, you wouldn't get in that car. Period.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, I understand.
Now,
what you're
if
saying.
you didn't have any faith, you wouldn't get in
The
there.
car,
If you
period.
thought that car was gonna blow up,
Yes, but
hey, you would call the wrecker folk. Hey, come pick the thing up and take it to the shop.
But that's
So everything we do pertains to faith. All of life is by faith. And that's what most people don't understand. They think faith is just about religion and going to church and all that. Faith is about your entire life.
Yeah, faith is about your eternal life. That's what it's all about.
When we go home
It's
tonight
really
and
about
go in
your
our
eternal
houses
life.
and everything, we ain't seen the people that built that
You'll
house.
die, but when you come back,
And then look here,
you're gonna be eternal.
We got faith to believe that ain't nobody gonna break in our house, even though we got these alarm systems and everything, fire alarm,
Exactly.
police alarm, all kind of alarm.
We must keep
that
it in
nobody's
mind.
gonna break in on us and kill us and our
the truth.
families.
That's the truth. You got to keep it in mind.
So it's
Who
faith.
is our maker? Who has been our maker? Who will be our maker? And who will bring in the new world to come, the new life to come? And his name is Christ.
But the problem we have today is we as a nation are failing our children because we do not
Who cares? Who
understand
cares? Nobody cares.
that our children are our future.
Our legislators don't care.
You're not gonna live forever.
Yeah, I know that's true.
You only can live through your children, your grandchildren, and your great. And we're not looking out for our children. Our children are growing up lawless.
Where they gonna go? What they gonna do? How they make more? I be paying attention to our children at church, and they be, if you're not careful, they'll pull out their phones and start playing games on the phone, and minister up there trying to speak.
Teach the gospel of
I'm up there
Jesus
trying to
Christ.
speak, trying to teach, trying to show them the way to go. And before you know it, one of them pull out their phone, can't stop and say, boy, put that phone back up. Girl, put that phone down. But it's a it's a way of not paying attention. Their
respect.
minds are off, confused, or they want to do their own thing. And there is no one to show to push them the way they ought to. I'm not saying no one. There are some parents that are interested in their children going to church, learning the Bible, understanding what it is necessary for them to get from this point where we are now to the point to come, which is eternal life. That point is irrelevant to our children. It's irrelevant to our people in this world. It's irrelevant.
Well,
that there's going to be another
What
life.
the problem is? The problem is that we are not helping our children to understand that we are the only form of an animal life, human beings. We are the only form of animal life that is conscious of our own death. See, you conscious.
Yes, we are. Very conscious.
And that's why you can understand if you got spiritual understanding. You can understand God. You are conscious of your death. See, a dog is not conscious of his own death.
And walk out there
Because
and
see, if
him
a
in.
dog was conscious of his own, he wouldn't be running after no car. Because he knew,
He gonna
or
end
he
up on the
would know
road
that he gonna get killed.
on the side
See,
of the road.
if a deer
Was
were
conscious.
conscious,
Wouldn't run in the front.
run in front of no automobile out there on the highway and get killed. So we are the only form of animal life.
There you go.
And since you're conscious of your own death, you can understand what morality is. See, that's the only way you can understand what morality is, that you're conscious of your own death. Otherwise, you wouldn't understand what morality is. And that's the sad part about it.
That's the really sad part. It's really a sad
And that's
part
what
on the
that's
side
what
of our
2 minutes-
brothers and sisters who are white. It's a sad point when I see them act the way they act and
Well, you know
do the
why.
things they do,
Yeah.
and they are not conscious of their own deaths. That's
Well, you
gonna,
know why our children are so screwed up and misguided today is because when we were growing up, we had parents that were God-fearing. And my mother, see, your mother is your teacher. That's your first teacher, is your mother.
True.
So my mother taught me 2 very, very spiritual, important lessons. Number one, my mother taught me because I got bent out of shape about her wearing a couple of new sweaters that I had bought that she wore to work. And I had bought them for me to wear to school so I could be
Looking good.
Looking good and cool and all that kind of stuff. And my mother wore one of them nice little old cardigan sweaters to the shake factory. She worked in the shake factory. And
She wore your sweater?
yeah, she wore my sweater to the shake factory. And it was new. I had never worn it.
Mm-hmm.
So when mother got home, man, I'm jumping up and down and raising all kind of sand and talking about, Mama, you wore my sweater, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother looked at me and she said, you care more about this sweater
Oh, wow.
than you do me.
Wow. I know that.
And you know what I thought about? I thought about I never went to school hungry, not one day. That before my mother would get up and go to work, she'd get up and fix me a hot breakfast, whether it was bacon and eggs, and sausage, and grits and hot biscuits. And she'd make the biscuits at night and put a cheesecloth over them.
Yeah, and put it in the oven in the morning.
And put it in the oven in the morning.
Yes.
And I got these hot biscuits. So I never went to school hungry. And I thought about my mother worked in the shake factory. She would always, you know, the white people would give her a shirt every now and then.
Mm-hmm. She
You
made
know,
it
so
for you.
I'm clean going to school. And I thought about all of that stuff. And I started crying. And I told my mother, no, I don't love you like I love that sweater. I love you more than what I love that sweater. And I'm sorry. So I begged my mother's pardon. And the next very strong spiritual lesson my mother taught me, without putting her hands on me, is I said something negative about my daddy. Because I thought my daddy had messed up some money, and I'm looking forward to getting me
Some
a
money,
new
too.
bicycle. Y'all know, new bicycle and everything, and he done messed his money up. And I'm talking about my daddy. So my mother said to me, boy, don't you ever say anything negative about your father. Because you gonna have to grow up to be a man, and you'll have a family, and if you think he did something wrong, don't you do it. And I thought about that. And about 2 or 3 days later,
How old were you then?
about 14, 15. So I was like maybe 10th grade, and I thought about it. And you know what came to me? Now, my mother was trying to tell me spiritually, your father, your earthly father, that's not your role model. That's not your real role model. Your real role model is your heavenly father. So now, you can't see your heavenly father
But you can see it.
with your physical eyes. You have to see him with your spiritual eyes. Now, you can see your physical father, and he might not do what he should do. He'll let you down. He'll even let himself down. But now your heavenly father, he's not going to ever let you down. He's going to always be the same today, yesterday, and tomorrow.
Exactly.
But you know what? Really, my mother helped me understand, just with that experience, I thought about the Garden of Eden story
And
with Adam and Eve.
I got you.
I said to myself now, God put Adam in a deep sleep. He put him in a deep sleep because he didn't want him to have nothing to do with the creation of a woman.
But you could have sworn
You know,
that he did have.
No, he didn't. He
You could've
didn't have
sworn that.
anything to do with the creation. God put
Let
him in a
man
deep
tell
sleep. So when he woke up, there was this beautiful woman. And he had that aha experience. And Eve looked at him and she said, well, who are you? Now, he'd been in a deep sleep. He don't know what God did or how God did it. So she said, well, who are you? He said, I'm man.
And you woman.
No.
That's
She finally asked the question. She said, okay, you man. So, well, who am I?
Whoa.
And he said, you woman. Because you know what woman means?
Born with a womb.
No. But
Born with a
before
womb.
you get to that, it means woman means one man. So then Adam said, you bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, you shall be called woman, one man. Now, how did Adam know that? He wasn't conscious.
God told him.
That's what I'm saying.
God told him everything. Whatever it was, he told him what was happening and what was done. And you all, we're going to have to leave you. And
but we'll be back.
Yeah, we will be back. I hope you enjoyed this session that we've had in this show, and pray and hope that it will be of some help to you in the future or right now in the present.
Keep your guns away from your children.
Praise the Lord. Do that. Please do that.
And your paper in your car.
There you go, bro. Keep the paper in your car. Let's keep Houston clean and looking good the way it ought to be. And God bless you. God keep you. We love you, and he does too. Bye-bye.
Everyone loves a gift, and we have a gift for you and your entire family. Download the free Urban Houston Network app today. Happy holidays from UHN to you.